Many in Wisconsin were in the Boston Marathon when those bombs went off just a year ago.
And two Shorewood families found themselves much too close for comfort. And now they're sharing their emotional stories with our Jesse Garcia.
This photo was taken just 5 minutes before the first bomb went off. Friends Alec Frazier and Stan Nestler had just completed running and were in a Boston park celebrating with their wives.
Right as we were about to go down into the subway, we heard a loud, a blast.
It just sounded like a cannon and didn't even cross our mind.
The subway workers told them all trains were suspended, so they began walking.
It was not chaotic, but confused. Everyone was checking their cell phones. There was a flurry of activity.
It was only later that they would learn just how close Kristen Frazier, Dana Nestler, and the Nestlers' two teenage children had been. This photo shows Dana and Kristen in the yellow circle. Widening it out gives you the perspective towards the finish line. The white circle is approximately where the first bomb went off. Kristen, Dana, and the kids got to their spot at 8 a.m. and sat there most of the day.
And a friend suggested we should stand near the finish. It's really great. They have an announcer.
Such a great, fun, celebratory atmosphere, and you get to know the people that are standing next to you.
Perhaps Stan had a premonition. During the race, he felt an unexplained urge not to dawdle.
We had stopped at mile 18 for a moment, stretched out. I know I felt a strong desire to get through to the finish line. I look back and I think, I wonder where that came from.
The explosions happened less than an hour after Stan and Alec crossed. Had their husbands come in a bit later, or the bombers decided to carry out their plan earlier, Kristen and Dana might have been in the middle of it. The realization hit when they watched the news that night.
Then all eyes turned to the finish line at the marathon.
After a while, I found I had to tune it out.
The phrase, "but for the grace of God, there go I," comes to mind when I think of that.
It was very, very difficult to watch and know how close I had been.
And the fact that we were both that close was definitely hard to wrap my head around. It helped, of course, to come back to Milwaukee.
Their three children were waiting for them, and the family rushed to each other.
To see them and know they're okay, we're okay, and yeah, that was some hug.
The Nestlers had to help their two kids process it in a different way, as they were all right there together.
They were both quiet about it for, I think, that evening and even the next day.
I just remember Nicholas making the comment that, "Mom, there was so much higher chance of us being in the bombing than there was for us not to be."
Alec still has the Boston Globe from the morning after, along with other mementos. He felt a strong desire to go back and will be running with over 30,000 others Monday. He's not worried about security, but it will be a heartfelt journey.
It affects me in some way emotionally. I think when it will really affect me is when I'm running down Boylston Street. And I'm sure that, I'll probably lose it, at the finish line.
It was a terrible day, but the couples never felt angry.
I think I was sad that in some ways a very innocent sport and a very healthy sport had been compromised.
Somebody actually doing something like that and then impacting people so that they cannot walk or run, I think that's what makes me emotional.
At least they are safe, and for that, they're forever grateful. In Shorewood, Jesse Garcia, today's TMJ4.
Alec will travel alone to Boston this year. The others can't make it because of previous commitments. Stan plans to run again in the future. I'm sure it will be an emotional day for all on Monday.
All I can think is grace and mercy.